Hello, welcome to the Journey Midweek Connection. I'm so glad that you're tuning in today. This is a really important week at our church. This is the week that all of our Journey groups are launching. We've got over 23 groups going, most of them full with people, but there's still some groups with a few openings. And so if you're watching this and you feel like, oh no, I might have missed my chance. No, you haven't. There are still plenty of groups that would love to welcome you to be a part of their faith family. And so let us know at the church if being involved in a Journey group this fall is something you'd like to do. We'd love to get you connected. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorites. And we actually looked at him briefly this past Sunday when we were looking at Jesus up on the mountain. We're going to be talking a little bit about Elijah. I love Elijah so much that I named my firstborn son after him. And I want to defend him a little bit today, but I'm going to begin with this. Studying God's Word is infinitely humbling. And I can't tell you how many different times I thought I really understood something and then learned something later and realized, wow, that wasn't quite an accurate picture. Started going to Israel, and that's when I really started having my eyes opened and be humbled. We got to keep learning. And so I'm going to challenge an idea that I've heard a little bit in Christian circles and on Christian radio, but I'm doing it because I'm really, really passionate about Elijah, and I'm also trying to be real humble about it, not be a jerk or anything. Elijah, let's talk about him. During the season of his life, it was so much turmoil for Israel. We all want a smooth life, and Elijah was not born in a time when that was going to be possible for him. The entire nation was turning its back on God and had been doing that for quite some time. King Ahab is in control, and he has been promoting worship of other gods, specifically Baal. And Ahab has himself a wife, bless her heart, Jezebel. Jezebel has been waging a personal war against God's prophets and against God himself, and she has been systematically murdering the other prophets living in Israel. And so Elijah's friends, Elijah's teammates, Elijah's ministry partners have been hunted down and killed by her with the Israelite armies. In 1 Kings 18, Elijah just achieves this incredible victory over the prophets of Baal. It's an amazing story. Look it up, 1 Kings 18. And not only is it a great victory for God, but it's also an opportunity for some justice to be done on behalf of his slain brothers. He has this incredible moment of victory at the end of chapter 18, and right away in 1 Kings 19, we find Elijah running for his life. Jezebel finds out what has just happened and how all of her prophets of Baal were defeated, and she makes Elijah public enemy number one. And so she is using all the resources available to the king of Israel to hunt down Elijah. I think he thought victory is here, and he's a little shocked to find that he's running for his life. He runs all the way to Beersheba, which is the southernmost point of biblical Israel. He runs all the way down there, and he's done. He wants to quit. He says, "Take my life, God. I'm no better than my ancestors," which is a pretty, he's self-shaming himself. And I think the reason some people have picked up on this is because he's being so vulnerable. He could look a little pathetic, maybe, if you divorce Elijah from his real life issues. If you just read his speech and you don't actually put yourself in his shoes for the last 20 years of his life, you might think, oh, he's being a little bit dramatic. But that's not the case at all. He falls asleep after saying that. He's completely exhausted. God recognizes that this guy needs help. He sends an angel. The angel brings food, sets it down next to him, and wakes him up. Elijah wakes up, eats food, and he instantly falls back asleep. That's how tired he was. The angel comes back again, brings him more food and drink, wakes him up, Elijah eats, and now he is physically sustained, okay? He's not going to pass out. He's revived physically to some degree. And this is where I need to defend Elijah a little bit, because I've heard, certain Christian radio announcers, and I think I've even heard this in churches at times before, say that All Elijah needed was a nap and a snack. And it's said in such a trite way, and I'm kind of like, this guy's life was nothing to be trifled with. It was PTSD everywhere. And the way it's been said was all that he needed was a nap and a snack. And that solved his little fit. And I've almost wanted to crash my car when I've heard that. And again, I'm trying to be humble because I've made mistakes before as well. And I also don't want to be the guy who does a sermon against naps, because naps are fantastic. And I don't want to obviously be a guy who does a sermon against snacks. I'm not going to do that. But the nap and the snack wasn't enough. It just kept him alive. It sustained him physically. The journey was too much for him, is what the angel had said. Sustained physically, Elijah travels for 40 days. He goes to the top of Mount Horeb, and God's going to pass by him. God's presence is going to come and be with him. That's what he is told. And a giant wind comes, and God wasn't in it. An earthquake shows up, and God wasn't in it. A fire breaks out, and God isn't in it. The Lord came, and he met his worn out, exhausted, traumatized prophet with a gentle whisper. Just this soft voice and presence. And so to me, I kind of want to redeem this whole narrative about Elijah. He didn't just need a nap and a snack. What he needed was the Lord. And that's what we all need. We got to be careful that when someone in our life's going through trauma, we don't just say, oh, you're going through something that bad, huh? Well, you just need a nap and a snack. That doesn't actually solve our problems. What we need when we're really going through something is the Lord. So if you come across someone this week, if it's not your personal testimony to go through something hard, you come across someone who's going through something really, really hard, remember, more than anything else, what they need is the presence of God. They need to feel him close, because then we know everything's going to be okay. One of the things I like to do in my personal time with God is I love to go for walks in the desert, preferably if I can. And while I'm out there, I love listening to worship music. And I stumbled upon a song that brings Elijah's experience of God coming close to him up on Mount Horeb so beautifully. The song is called So Close. It's by Brandon Lake and Amanda Cook. And I highly recommend that you YouTube that. Give yourself 5 minutes to just be quiet. Maybe you want to read the story before you do. But I can't tell you how many times I've been listening to that song out in the desert and I've been brought to tears, because it highlights this beautiful reunion and this closeness that Elijah is able to get when God does come near with that gentle whisper. And it just reminds me that he'll come near to us when we call on him and we need him as well. And so do yourself a huge favor. Get into 1 Kings 18 and 19, and you will be so blessed if you look up the song So Close by Brandon Lake. Hope you guys have a great week. We're going to be praying for all these journey groups, and we will see you on Sunday. Thanks for tuning in.